A pleasant good morning and welcome to the program Legal Hour on OKFM 99.5 megahertz. My name is Massa Kanneh, and I'm here again on this white Thursday morning to bring you another edition. And I'm happy to be here this morning. The rain can't stop us from doing what we love to do, okay? The rain cannot stop us. We want to make sure we are here in your presence to talk to you, to educate you on some legal issues, legal matters. And we bring you experts to talk on these matters, okay? All right. You know, it's Unedon here on OKFM 99.5. And that's how we roll. And this is, July. Yes, the 7-month 10th. Today is the 10th of the 7 months. Imagine, and this month happened to be our Independence Month, Liberia Independence Month. So the 26th of this month will be Liberia's Independence Day. So we are happy to be alive to get into this month. We are always happy. We are glad to be here. Don't change the dial. Stay there. We'll be right back. Welcome back to OKFM 99.5 FM, 99.5 megahertz. I would like to welcome you back, and we don't want to delay. Last Thursday or the last edition, I was here alone discussing the, the phrase. Is that a phrase? Yeah, Miranda's right. That one phrase there, Miranda's right. I was speaking on it as a journalist. And the research I made about it, we were talking about it here with you. And I told you that I will have a counselor coming here to talk, on the law aspects. Because we will talk about the historicity, why men, what happened, where it all derived from. We talk about that. And maybe he will throw light on it. Our guest will throw light on it as well. But then, at least those that were listening, they had a synopsis of what Miranda's rights is. And today, we are happy to have, our counselor in our midst. He's been here, I think, one or twice. He's been here talking about different topics. He's been here with us, and he's Counselor Cllr and Yorfee. He has been here with us several times to talk some different matters. And so I reached out to him on a short notice. I said, Counsel, you have to come. Even though I have discussed this thing, but I am not a lawyer and I can't impersonate as a lawyer. I'm a journalist. I can research. But the law that are applicable to, the legal side, when it comes to the legal side, you have to come and talk that. And he consented, and he's here with us this morning to discuss that, the Miranda right. He's here with us, and he will be talking about exactly the legal aspect of it, how is it applicable to our Liberian law and things like that. So, Counsel, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm okay. We are happy to have you.
And thank you for having me as well.
Okay. So you just listened to my intro, and we were talking about Miranda's right. We don't want to delay because there were questions asked that day that I couldn't answer.
All right.
And I needed a legal mind, an expert to answer some of these questions. So this is why I have come and I've reached out to you to come here and discuss, this particular thing here they call, or the phrase that they refer to as Miranda's rights. What is Miranda's right? What is it about? Because I know, even I talked about it last week, I know that there were people listening last week, but they are not listening today. All right, so it would be an opportunity for them to also learn what that phrase is about, Miranda's right. So welcome.
All right.
So this is it. Don't change the dial. Be here. You will learn something. It's more educative. Void of politics. This is what we do here. Council, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So that's it. Miranda's rights.
Well, you see, the Miranda right is a fundamental aspect of the criminal justice system. It is a right that was spelled out historically in the U.S. Jurisprudence, I would say,
Yeah.
because the Miranda right actually came about as a result of a case that existed between a man by the name of Ernesto Miranda when he went against the state of Arizona. And that took place sometime in 1966. So the concept is what we are talking about.
Yes, the concept.
It may not be the same as what took place in the United States, that is incorporated in our laws in the Republic of Liberia, because our laws are different from the laws of the United States of America.
Maybe similar in some
But
ways.
that concept of the Miranda rights is what we have inculcated into our laws. What is the
When
Miranda
you say
right?
inculcated, because I have some Maggie with me listening. When you say inculcated, what do you mean?
Okay, we have similar aspect copied in our laws, or we have a portion of our law that is copied after the Fifth Amendment of the United States of America. And the Fifth Amendment is a constitutional provision which allows a criminal defendant, that is, an accused, to have the right to remain silent. He does not have to speak, even if he is dragged into court. He has the right to remain silent, and he can be judged based on evidence that is produced against him in the court of competent jurisdiction. He does not have to say anything. He has that right. Okay. But in the event he decides to say something, it must be based on his voluntary desire to
say,
speak.
Yes, I want to.
So that Miranda warning is a right that must be given to an accused person. But it must be done under two conditions.
And what are those conditions?
One, the accused person must be held in custody, or his rights of free movement must be prevented, or he is under some restriction. For example, at the point of arrest.
Okay.
Now, when you are arresting him and you are taking him for interrogation, and that is the second step. Number one, he must be under custody. And number two, he must be facing investigation. Before you commence the investigation, you must remind him of his Miranda rights. But
So
I wanted to
before
talk
you
a
go
little
further,
bit.
It's only applied to criminal matters, right?
Yeah, an accused person.
Okay.
Yeah. That was two years of
Yes.
fundamental aspect of the criminal justice
investigation.
system.
Okay.
Now, let me give you a little intro as it relates to the historicity of the Miranda case.
Okay.
As I said earlier, the case was held in 1966. Ernesto Miranda was arrested based on the allegation of kidnapping and rape. After 2 hours of investigation, he then confessed to the allegation of the kidnapping and rape. And based on his confession, he was now arraigned before court, and the very confession he made during investigation was used against him in the trial.
Wow.
And based on that, he was convicted. An appeal was taken. The matter traveled all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And at the level of the Supreme Court, a ruling was made, delivered by the Chief Justice of the United States of America. And you know, in the United States of America, they have about 9 judges on the bench, unlike ours, where we have only 5. They have 9. But that ruling came about at a vote of 5-4. So which means 5 judges on the Supreme Court bench voted in favor and 4 voted against. And it was in favor of Miranda.
Of a non-guilty plea. Overturning,
the
yes, but
decision
he's
of
he's
the
not
the
guilty
lower court, because he was found guilty in the
in the
lower
lower
court.
court.
The Supreme Court then overturned that verdict by saying
He's not guilty.
no, his rights were
Okay,
not given him.
violated.
So
Okay.
a new trial had to be awarded because his rights under the Fifth Amendment and the Sixth Amendment were not given. That is to say, he was not warned to remain silent. He was not warned against self-incrimination,
Yeah.
and he was not warned on his right that he's entitled to a lawyer before even making a statement before investigation, and therefore the statement he made, which was used as his confession upon which he was convicted, the court said that confession was involuntary and therefore was illegal. So it was based on that case that the Miranda warning is now given. But and because of the name of the fellow involved, Ernesto Miranda, that carries the name today of the right called the Miranda rights.
Okay.
But in our constitution,
Yes,
which I want to
is so
read,
important.
which I want to read for the benefit of the public, it is under Article 21, Article 21C, which is in line with that Miranda warning, but it's a fundamental aspect of the criminal justice system, as I said earlier. But this is what our law says, which I want to read verbatim
Yes.
for the benefit of the public. It says, every person suspected or accused of committing a crime shall, and you see, when the Constitution uses the terminology shall, it means it is mandatory.
Compulsory.
It is compulsory. It must be done. When the law uses the terminology may, then it becomes a discretionary aspect for the judge to follow. But where it says shall, it means it is mandatory. So every person suspected or accused of committing a crime shall immediately upon arrest be informed in detail. Now our constitution says upon arrest. So once you arrest the person, there and then you must make them to be aware of his or her Miranda warning. And our constitution says immediately upon arrest be informed in detail of charges. So number one, the charges against the fellow, of his right to remain silent, and of the fact that any statement made could be used against him in a court of law. Such person shall be entitled to counsel at every stage of the investigation, and shall have the right not to be interrogated except in the presence of counsel. Any admission or other statement made by the accused, and I want to re-emphasize this point. Any admission
And break it down if
or
possible.
other statements made by the accused in the absence of such counsel shall be deemed inadmissible as evidence in a court of law. That is
Break
to
that
say,
down for us.
when an accused person is arrested, our constitution says you must immediately upon his arrest inform him of his Miranda rights. Number one, that he has the right to remain silent and not to make any statement. Number two, that anything he says can and will be used against him in the court of competent jurisdiction. Three, that he has a right to a lawyer to guide him in every stage of the investigation. That is to say, during the investigation, the lawyer representing him must be present at every stage of the investigation.
Counsel, before you proceed, right, on the issue of the arrest, there are instances where the officer or officers go to arrest the person either at home or at somewhere, and then there is a resistance, and then there's a torso there. So the issue of Miranda's, how does it apply there? Because sometimes the person allegedly gets beaten and forcefully taken to custody.
Yes, because you see, an accused person should not resist arrest.
Arrest. Okay.
The officers are peace officers. When they come to secure your arrest, you are under obligation to cooperate. In the event where you become hostile, then they have the right to apply some minimum force
Okay.
to put you under control. Because man, you are not above the law.
Above the law.
So the officers will have to use minimum force. In other terminology, we say appropriate force, because the force applied must be equated to the action from the accused person.
Okay.
That is, you should not use maximum force, because maximum force can only be used on a certain condition. So where the accused person is using some minimum force to prevent arrest, the officer cannot use a force appropriate to the force being applied by the accused in order to bring him under subjugation or to demobilize him in such a way to bring him under the law. So under such a condition, you cannot inform him of his rights, because tussle is going on. But when you take him into custody, before you begin any investigation, you must there and then inform him of his Miranda rights.
Okay. So, in an instance where there is no tussle and you've come to arrest this person, is it appropriate also to tell that person at that moment that you are under arrest? At that point, that anything you say here will be heard against you in a court of law.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yes, that's what our law says.
Okay.
Upon arrest, you must immediately.
Okay.
That is there and then.
All right.
But where situation cannot provide, you take him out of the hostile environment. But before you begin any investigation, you must remind him of a Miranda's right.
All right. To our listener out there, those that are viewing, I want to say welcome to you. And those listening to the radio, you're listening to OKFM 99.5 megahertz. This is Legal Hour at about this time. And we have Councillor Luther Yorfee. He's our guest this morning. And we are talking about Miranda's rights. It's in the U.S. and it's applicable also in other jurisdictions, even including Liberia. So we are talking, he's giving the historicity of Miranda's rights. We are applying it to our Liberia context, and he's spoken about Article 21C that guarantees that an accused person, rights to be respected. And then, Council, there is this something that I really want you to elaborate on a little bit, on the issue of, like you said, minimum force, right? Depending on the crime or depending on the circumstance. There is this notion, or there is this saying that it's after 6 o'clock, you cannot arrest me. I'm not going. Is that legal?
Many people do not understand. In the civil matter, you cannot take a person after 6.
Civil.
When crime is being committed, you can be arrested at any hour, even at midnight.
Okay.
When crimes are committed, you can be arrested, because after committing a crime, mind you, criminals are always on the run. If you say, I'm going to wait for 6 o'clock in the morning before coming to arrest the criminal, he may get away. So you get him whenever he is found.
Okay.
Because once a writ of arrest is issued for you, you can be arrested at any hour, at any place where you are found.
Okay. So there is, I think there are difference between arrest and invitation, because sometimes police do go to the community to arrest somebody. I don't know how to call that, but they go and take someone to custody at the police station without an arrest warrant. This has happened. Should it be that way?
There are times that people can be arrested without a warrant.
Okay.
For example, while in the commission of the crime, the police does not need a warrant to arrest you.
Okay.
For example, the police is walking on Broad Street. And walking on Broad Street, he sees this guy fighting. And he has a knife in his hand. And he's threatening to stab someone with that knife. Should the police go to the court, apply for a warrant, while this man is in pursuit of somebody to kill or commit serious bodily harm? When does he go to acquire the writ and come back? The person may be killed. So while in the commission of the crime, the police does not need a warrant. He can arrest immediately. The police does not also need a warrant when he is in hot pursuit of a criminal. Somebody has committed a crime. The police came, oh, there's a man who stabbed this lady, or he jerked this lady back, and he's on the run. Where did he go? He's on the side. The police can immediately pursue him. He does not need a warrant. This is what we call hot pursuit. Because before the police go to get a warrant and come, that guy will be nowhere to be found. Under that condition, he does not need a warrant. So there are certain conditions under which a police can act without a warrant. And there are conditions under which a warrant must be procured before carrying out such order. For example, you want to search a premises because you feel that something illegal had taken place in that premises for which you want to search. Under that condition, you need a search warrant because you cannot just enter the home of private citizens without having the legal authority to do so.
Absolutely. If you do that, what happens? Just you don't have the
If you do that, that will be an illegal act against the officer because you are not in hot pursuit. No crime is being committed. There are crimes we call plain view, the one I just discussed, plain view crime where the police is standing and see the crime being committed. Of course, he can intervene and try to bring it to a halt or have somebody arrested because of the crime being committed. But in this case, there is no plain view crime, and you just bash into somebody's house. Of course, a police can be reprimanded for such an action because he has no authority to do that. Ethically, he can be dealt with.
Okay. And then back to Miranda's rights. What happens if a law enforcer came to, did not accord and accuse the rights as specified in Article 21, like the Miranda's right, the right to remain silent, the right to an attorney, they did not inform the accused or the suspect of that. What happens? Is it the same case as the US, or what do you do as a lawyer?
That's what I told you. Forget about the name, but it is the concept.
It can be the person, it can be Massa's right.
Yeah, the concept is the same.
Yeah.
If the police did not give the accused person his Miranda rights, two things could happen. One, the accused person could decide to waive his Miranda right. But this is not the case because we said wherein the police didn't give him at all. If he makes voluntary statements, those statements could be used against him because he was not being interrogated. Maybe he was arrested and the police tried to take him to a safe place, maybe at the police headquarters, before interrogating him. And before arresting him, he began to make statements. Those statements he made are voluntary. He was not coerced to make those statements. He made them voluntarily, and therefore those statements could be used against him. Let me give you an example.
I didn't understand that well. The police went to arrest an accused or a suspect, and he decided to talk.
Yeah.
So, in a case where the police did not, they went to arrest him, but they did not tell him that you have the right to remain silent, and he started talking. Is this the same?
The point I'm making, if the police have not given Miranda right, we are saying, what if the police did not give him Miranda right? What happens?
Yes.
I'm saying two things.
Okay.
Where he made a voluntary statement before being arrested, those statements could be used against him.
Okay, before being arrested.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the police came to arrest. I'll give you an example to make it clear because there are audience out there who may be confused.
Yes, sure.
Maybe this guy was forcing in the community, and secretly somebody called in the police. And as soon as the police arrived, oh, you call police on me? You call police then? Okay. When I come back here, I'm going to deal with everybody who invited the police.
Okay.
He was not arrested yet. The police have only just arrived, and he began to make statements. Sometimes he threatens individuals in the community. Of course, those statements could be used against him because he was not yet arrested. Our law says, upon being arrested, he must immediately be acquainted with Miranda rights. He was not yet under arrest, and he began to make threatening statements. The police can use those statements against him. But after being arrested, he must then be acquainted with his Miranda rights. Under the condition, he made voluntary statements before being arrested. Yes, those statements could be used against him. But if the police, after arresting him, began to ask him some questions, and he made those statements based on the interrogation of the police without giving him his Miranda warning, then those statements made after being arrested and interrogated could be excluded in the court of law because the court will deem those statements to be involuntary.
Okay.
Probably he made those statements based on the presence of the police that created some form of duress upon him, and so he made those statements.
So it could
That's
be,
why
it could
our
be
law
the same. It could be the same as like you are not giving your Miranda's rights, and equally so you don't want to talk. You refuse to make statement, even though it's your right, that you don't want to talk. And in an instant, they force you, they torture you to talk. Will be the same thing. Like
when you are tortured, our law is against torture. Nobody should be tortured to make a statement because somebody may make incriminating statements simply because of the pain he's undergoing and he's trying to avoid. Since they are saying I did it, I will agree that I did it in order for them to stop beating me, for example. Nobody should be tortured. Under that condition, any statement made by that person while being tortured will be excluded in the code of competent jurisdiction because that confession was made involuntarily. To be excluded means the court will throw it aside. It will never be admitted as an evidence against that person.
Okay.
Because under our laws, an accused person must be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And the state, which has all the resources, must employ every legal means to obtain the necessary evidence in order to bring the accused person down guilty. They cannot rely on the accused person to provide evidence against himself. No, such evidence will be excluded. The state must use its necessary machinery in order to acquire evidence to bring the accused down guilty and not to make him to incriminate himself. That is, to make statements that could be used to find him guilty. Okay. No, those will be excluded in the code of competent jurisdiction.
All right. So there is this saying that a code does not do for you what you don't do for yourself. Assuming your Miranda's rights were violated and you went to court, who pushes for that? Who can say that, okay, this man or this suspect, Miranda's right was not, respected? Who pushes for that for the court to set it aside?
His legal counsel.
Okay.
Let me give you an example about myself.
All right.
I was called in this day by an accused person who was already at the Liberia National Police headquarters. I got at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, and my client was already being interrogated. I got there and I asked, have you made any statement? Yes, I made a statement. They asked me to do a written statement, which I did. And I asked the police, are you sure he made a statement? The police said, yes, he made a voluntary statement. He waived his Miranda right. We warned him of his Miranda right, yet he decided to waive his Miranda right, and he made a statement. I said, very well. Where is the document made by my client waiving his Miranda right? The police said, no, he did a voluntary waiver. I said, between you and I, how can I be convinced that this man made this statement voluntarily? You say he waived his right. It should have been written. He should have signed waiving it because you asked him to make a written statement. If he's waiving his right, that waiver should have also been written. He said, no, he made a voluntary waiver. And I asked them to exclude that. They refused. We went through the rest of the investigation. The matter was forwarded to court. And at the court, the first thing I did, I made an application for the judge to exclude the statement written by my client because that statement was involuntary. It was made under duress. It was made under compulsion. It was made under an atmosphere of force and threat. And when the judge asked the police, he made a voluntary statement. He waived his Miranda right. And the judge asked, where is the evidence that he waived his right? Oh, it was verbal. The judge excluded, and we had to go through the case without it. So when you fail to give the Miranda right, and it is proven by the counsel representing the accused that the confession was obtained by compulsion or under duress, the court will exclude such evidence.
Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'm just kind of thinking about people or suspects that don't have the capacity to hire like private lawyers and they have to deal with it on their own, or let's say quote unquote public defenders that are also being paid by the government. That scenario, how do you really how do you really collaborate that to the scenario you just gave? Because the justice ministry, the police works for the justice ministry, right? They are all being paid by the government of Liberia, the public defense. They are there. And someone said the last time, well, the police, if the person is an indigent and they don't have money, they can ask for a public defender. And then in a case where they were not, their rights were violated, can the public defense really stand for them?
Oh yes.
That this person's right was violated.
The police works for the executive branch of government.
Mm-hmm.
The public defenders do not work for the executive. Mm-hmm. They work for the judiciary.
Which is the government also.
Yeah, it's also the government, but the judiciary is the branch of government that is responsible for interpreting the law. Mm-hmm. So, it is part of your rights, your Miranda rights, that in the event you are unable to acquire a lawyer for yourself, the state is under obligation to provide a lawyer for you. And so one of the public defenders or two or more could be acquired to represent you based on the gravity of the allegation against you. Okay. And mind you, our law says any lawyer representing an accused person is supposed to perform at your optimum. That is, you must perform to the best of your ability. If the court goes through the record and finds out that the accused person was not properly represented by the lawyer representing him, that entire judgment could be cancelled by the Supreme Court and a new trial awarded. And that happened to me before. Okay. We had a case at the magisterial court, Pimville Magisterial Court, where I was working along with the prosecution because this victim, even though had the right of the state to represent him, but also acquired my assistance to work along with the government in prosecuting this defendant. This defendant. We won a case at the magisterial court. They took an appeal. We went to the second court. We won, and they took an appeal and went to the Supreme Court. And then they brought other lawyers on board to represent the accused person at the level of the Supreme Court. And all that lawyer did, he said, Your Honor, the accused never had an adequate representation. He said, look at men like Cllr Yorfee against him and all these government lawyers. And look, this man was only represented But then attorney at law did a hard co-lawyers against this man, and mind you, his life is on the line. And the Supreme Court went through the records and they concluded that the defendant was not adequately represented. The lawyer representing him was not of high caliber as we who represented the state. And so the court canceled the judgment and awarded a brand new trial.
Okay. Interesting. So we will take some calls. We are running out of time. 0777700 05555 are the numbers. Oh God, please walk away from your monitor. I know I can't wait to call, but please move away from your monitor. It can be so annoying. Let me pick this one. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. 0777700 Let me take this. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
I want some case in my head right now. I wanted for the counselor to at least to make me understand.
What is it?
Hello?
You have to be brief. Yeah. We are taking questions, all the things that he discussing. And now your case, what you got? What we discussing?
Okay. I have a brother which is part of the football team, and the man goes soon there to court. Last week Sunday they arrested the boy, they put him in jail. I went there that they should release them, we'll go to court Monday, but the police say they cannot really put her in the court matter.
Police say they can't put her in the court matter.
Yeah. So the complainant said they should put the boy outside. That I should go pay money almost for the whole group. But they put the boy outside. I told him that I can't pay for the whole group. The boy own the money, I can pay that. In short, the group go and reach. Go talk to the man. He accepted the other group. But my own brother, he said he got to carry the ball to court. You think when the ball go to
so what the boy did before they carry him to court? You gotta be brief, man. We got other people waiting.
They said they were playing football. He told them to stop. They now stop the 12 round after his Z. He said someone is this sport.
Okay.
So someone is this sport. He carried them to court.
Okay.
The other group go talk with him. He accepted them.
And you now want to talk with him?
Yeah, say I accepted that for pay some the money. He said he could not accept the boy again.
Okay.
They say he will also send the boy to court or have to pay for the money.
All right.
Why was they on the group?
Okay, thank you. 0777700 05555 are the numbers. Call and ask your questions pertaining to what we are discussing. We are discussing rights. When you are arrested, when you are accused of a crime, you have the right to remain silent, or you have the right to a lawyer, or these things is what we are discussing today. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Mama Kikoma calling from Ghana Street.
Go ahead.
Good morning to the counselor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, please.
Counselor, if you commit a crime, then maybe you work with a company, there was an accused, you went to the police station, maybe you were a city of O. They did an investigation and they sent you to court. Separate charges. Then when he got to the court bring all the charges together and charge all of you with criminal facilitation, criminal misappropriation, all the charges. Then the prosecutor.
You have to be brief. We don't have all that time.
Yeah,
What is the issue?
The prosecutor went to the court and found that yes, the crime was committed, but you play lesser part and start to not the prosecutor. Is the complainer have the right to challenge the naughty prosecutor?
All right, thank you. The council will talk about that. 0777700 05555 The naughty prosecutor, the complainer got a right to go by and ask. The council will explain that, because I know that the state can still go back for it depending on the circumstance. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. You getting me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm working fine. I call you from Cllr, Benson Street.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let me say thank you so much to the counselor. Whatever in this case, I owe the person money, and then after 6 o'clock, and then the person bring the police on me. I'll be arrested.
Okay.
For that time, I want to cancel the plea. Explain it, bro.
All right. Thank you. 0777700 055 We'll take 3 calls and then the council will respond to these. Let me pick this one. Good morning. Walk away from your monitor, please. Good morning. Hello. Okay, 0777700 You can call, ask your questions, your concern. Please be brief and within the confines of what we're discussing this morning. I think you've been following. Please, let me take this. Good morning.
Okay, man.
Yes.
Oh, is it Justin M. calling? Okay, I'm driving to your frequency.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, my question has to do with the guilty by association and crime is not transferable. Our law says that crime is not transferable. I want to know at what degree that crime can be linked to guilty by association.
Guilty by association.
Yes, guilty by association.
Yeah, crime is not transferable. These are your concerns.
Yeah.
Okay, we will take.
At what degree?
All right. Okay. 0777700 055 are the numbers. Call and ask your question. I'm taking 2 more calls, and then we will have the council responding. Good morning.
Good morning. How do you do?
I'm okay.
I want to ask a question.
Yeah, please do.
Like you owing a person $1,000, or you are a businessman. Like let's say a carpenter or a tradesman, and then you do the person well, or you own a person, and then the person draw police immediately to arrest you or invite you to stay, and you told the person like $1,000. I say there is a civil case that the person go to court, and the police want to force you to go. In that case, what can you do?
Okay, thank you. You owing somebody and the person came, brought police for you, forcing you to go, and then you ask the person should go to court, saying it's civil matter. 0777700 055 let me take this one. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, good morning.
Yes.
I'm asking for legal attention.
Yes, go ahead.
I bought a land from somebody. I give the money to someone else to buy and sold the land. But now, the person now is blaming, and the person I gave the money to the person and he refused and the person to do. So, who actually police to all is necessary or outside lost?
You gave money to somebody to buy you land.
Yeah.
And then what happened? The person bought the land or they didn't buy it?
They gave the money to the person.
Okay, they gave the money to the land owner.
Yeah, give the money to the land owner. And then the person, they see the owner and show the different person.
So the land to different person.
Yeah. So
okay, the council will answer. So we do you carry the code? I understood you, okay? So he gave money to somebody to buy land for him. He gave, and then the person gave the money to the land owner. But then the land owner sold the land to different person. Who can he take to court? That's his question. 0777700 I'm taking this one, and I will close the line. Let me take this. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Your name first. Your name.
The judge said he can be arrested.
Your name. Your name. Tell us your name before you talk,
Sorry,
please.
I'm Eric Bode Johnny from Johnsonville.
All right, go ahead.
I had a judge that he said
he's not judge. He's a counselor. He's a counselor. Please, he's not a judge.
Yeah, he's a counselor. Sorry. He said you can be arrested at any time. So I want to know if you are arrested, where you be taken?
In criminal matters, that's what he said. In criminal matters, the gravity of the crime. And I say what matter, he said after 6 you can be arrested. So please get that clear. All right, so we'll hold it right here. I think I can squeeze in one because this question the council will just tackle them. Let me squeeze in one more. 0777700 Let me take this one and then yes. Good morning.
Hello? Good morning.
Yes.
I'm following the program, man.
Your name?
I need a Joseph T. Small. Yeah, it's like you and somebody have a confusion within the community. Then the person just goes straight to the bicycle and sue you the cherry car for you, and the hour they carry you at 12 o'clock, and you don't have a lawyer. What the next step?
12 o'clock May or 12 May Day?
12 May Day.
Okay. So you and someone make fuss, and then the sheriff comes and then take you. What do you do? All right, we will hold it right there. For today, we have those questions, and then the council will answer these, and then we call it a day. Councilor, those are your questions.
All right, let me begin with the last one. You see, criminal matters cannot be adjudicated after 12
In magisterial court.
in the magisterial court. So when you are arrested for a crime and taken to the magisterial court, and it is after 12, the judge will not go into that matter. The only thing he's going to do, he's going to acquaint you with your Miranda rights that we just been discussing. After acquainting you with your rights, he will then go further to tell you that you have the right to place a bond for your release. In the event you are unable to procure a bond for your release, then you will be held in custody at the Moreover Central Prison until the case is arranged for trial. But if you are able to procure a bond for your release, you will be released, and you will remain temporarily released until the case is called for trial.
Okay.
Somebody asked a question relative to somebody being arrested or people being arrested
Group
jointly.
of people.
When people commit crime jointly, they are arrested jointly. And they could be charged jointly or severally based on the fact the police will get out of the investigation. Well, he said, and in this case, he said, they later not prosecute the case against an individual while they prosecuted the other group jointly.
And whether the person, the complainant, can still go back after the state has acknowledged the case.
No, in a criminal case, the state is the one that is offended. The victim in the criminal case we call the private prosecutor if the person is a man, or a private prosecutrix if the person is a female. So the victim is only the private prosecutor or cutrix. That is, the person serves as a witness of the state. But the crime is committed against the state. That's why in criminal cases you always see Republic of Liberia versus the defendant.
Yeah.
So the victim cannot go after someone whom the state have not prosecuted the case against.
I think except in a case where the state will say without prejudice, sometimes they do that.
No,
right?
what I'm saying, the victim
Cannot
go after someone
Okay.
whom the case, the prosecution had dropped charges against.
Okay. All right.
But usually, when crimes are committed jointly, during investigation, the police will try to find the weaker link, or those who, or the person who is least blamable in the whole execution of the crime. Then you arrange with that person and say, look, we see that the role you play in this crime is minimal. If you agree to testify against the others, we can waive the charges against you, you will be free. Or we give you a minimum sentence. So based on the bargaining, that person will now be appointed to serve as state witness in that case to say the not prosecutor against him in order for him to testify for the state. In that case, that one who is testifying for the state, the victim cannot go against him later on because the prosecution have already waived charges against him.
Okay.
So he helps the prosecution now to prove their case against
That
the
person-
rest of the people,
people.
who committed the crime jointly.
Okay.
Another person was asking
Guilty
about
by
money
association, and guilty by association, or crime is not
owed.
transferable.
No, under our laws, people cannot be guilty by association. For example, a man committed murder, and this man was a Cllr man. Therefore, all the Cllr people are guilty because they're from the same tribe. No, guilty by association is not called for under our laws.
The crime is
And he also talked about crime not being transferable. Yes, the one who commits a crime must be held responsible for committing the crime and not another person. For example, this guy killed somebody, he escaped. Oh, since the man escaped, let arrest his mother or let arrest his father. No, crimes are not transferable. Okay. The one who commits the crime must bear the responsibility of the crime.
Owing money.
Another person talked about owing money. Now,
they come for him around 6.
This is the point I wanted to lay more emphasis on because it is somehow complicated. When money is owed, it could either fall on a criminal offense or a civil offense. If it is on a civil offense, then the police have no right to arrest anybody.
Okay.
But if there is a criminal element, for example, I worked for Mr. X. He agreed to pay me a sum of money, a certain sum, at the end of the work. At the end of the day, he refused to pay. I made every effort to get him to pay me. He has refused. And I take the matter to the police. Oh yes, the police can look at that aspect of owing money from a criminal perspective. That is what we call theft. Theft by what is something just slipped my mind.
Theft of property?
No, not theft of property, theft of service.
Okay, service.
Yeah, because this man performs services for you and you refuse to pay him under that condition, you have stolen his service. So under the charge of theft of service, you can be arrested.
All right.
But if, for example, he told you he was going to pay you 1,000 for the job you are going to do. You did the job, he paid 500 and a balance of 500 remaining.
Okay.
And then he cannot pay the balance and you go to the police. No, the police cannot interfere because that is a civil matter now. Because one portion of the money has been paid, that is then referred to as a debt. And a debt is a civil action, it's not criminal. Police cannot get involved in that matter. Then you have to go to the court,
civil
the debt court, to not
court.
claim.
Okay. And then I think this is the last one. That he bought a land. He gave money to somebody to buy land.
All right.
The landowner sold the land to another person. Who does he take to court?
Okay. Once it is established that the person he gave the money to actually used that money for the purpose of purchasing the land, it means that person was not guilty in any way. So you cannot hold that person because he carried out the purpose for which the money was given him.
Okay.
The landowner who then issued or who sold the property to him and later on went and resold the property to another person is guilty of criminal conveyance.
Okay.
Yes, you can prosecute him for selling a property he has parted with. He has committed a crime because once you sell a property, you have relinquished title to that property. You are no more the owner because you sold it already. You are no more the owner. To come back and resell, you then become a thief. But under our law, you can be prosecuted for criminal conveyance, selling land maybe to more than one person because of multiple sales. Yes. You sold to this man and later on you went and took the property and you sold to another person. Yes, you can be prosecuted for criminal conveyance. That is the land law I'm talking about. You can sue him for that.
Okay, thank you so much, Councillor Yorfee. We really appreciate the time and we've learned a lot. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And I believe that you that are listening also, you've learned a lot. You've been educated. Please do join us on next Thursday. We will be here as well to bring you another edition of it. We appreciate your time very much here. Thank you for the listening role. Thank you to Abby for controlling both the outside and inside camera. Thank you so much.